My James Bond series continues with the next Daniel Craig film, Quantum of Solace. So let's talk about it. Welcome, movie watchers. Thank you guys for stopping by my channel. My James Bond series continues with Quantum of Solace, leading up to the last Daniel Craig James Bond film, No Time to Die. Let me know in the comment section down below, what did you think of Quantum of Solace and what is your memories with this film? Following the death of Vesper Lynd, James Bond makes his next mission personal. The hunt for those who blackmailed his lover leads him to ruthless businessman Dominic Greene. I've always thought that Quantum of Solace was forgettable. It's easily my least favorite Daniel Craig James Bond film. There is a lot of things to appreciate about this movie and a continuation of Casino Royale. But going off of Casino Royale and then immediately watching Quantum of Solace, there's not much in Quantum of Solace to make it memorable like Casino Royale was. And there is some good things. Like I said when I reviewed all of the James Bond movies, some are not as good as other, but there is no absolutely terrible James Bond film. I will always watch a James Bond film regardless if it's bad or good. And I do remember seeing Quantum of Solace in theaters and kind of being let down because the connection between Vesper Lynd and James Bond was really good in Casino Royale, and they had those poker sequences that were just really thrilling. But Quantum of Solace doesn't really have that one scene or that one relationship that makes this film just so good that you want to come back to it multiple times. I do like the continuation of the Vesper Lynd story with James Bond and how this mission is personal and it leads up to the very last scene of the movie. And we are introduced to Dominic Greene, who I will just say right now is one of the most forgettable James Bond villains. There's nothing really sinister about him. He's just there. But we are introduced to his character and the plot thickens with James Bond and the organization that blackmailed Vesper Lynd. I like exploring that, even if it does get a little bit sidetracked at times in regards to all the new characters that are being introduced in the film. And this is a pretty short film compared to other James Bond movies, especially with No Time to Die being 2 hours and 43 minutes. That's a long film. But it feels like the story is one trying to continue that story with Vesper Lynd while also trying to create its own new story as well. And I think it gets mixed with that because on one hand, the continuation of Vesper Lynd story and the organization that blackmailed her, I think is a great story to tell because it is very personal to James Bond. But then you have the other stories with Dominic Greene and the connection with that, but it's trying to stand on its own and it just doesn't really work because Dominic Greene and his big villainous plot is just not very interesting. And the character himself is not interesting, so it makes the film drag a little bit despite some really good action scenes. The way that this film opens up leads you to think that this is going to be just one straight action-packed James Bond movie. And there is some really well-made action scenes within this film, but for the most part, the character relationships and the villain just leaves more to be desired. I just want more from this film. I like the way that looks and the complete different setting from Casino Royale, more of a desert setting. It's a little bit of a shakeup for a James Bond movie, but I don't think they really utilized that to their advantage. I think this film desperately tries to recreate the relationship between Vesper Lynd and James Bond. Not so much of the love relationship aspect of it, but more of the business, the personal connection, the friendship they had, but also they were lovers. They just had a good relationship. Introducing the characters like Camila Montes and Strawberry Fields, both of those characters just don't have any sort of connection with James Bond. And I feel like they're just there. Daniel Craig and the actresses involved in the movie, they just don't have the best chemistry ever to move their relationships forward. So you always feel like something's stuck, something's blocking the growth of these relationships, because they do get involved quite often in the movie. It's not progressing the way that you want it to. You're not getting those deep personal moments for James Bond. Him being vulnerable in Casino Royale, it's just not happening in this movie. So the movie is lacking, some of those emotional moments from James Bond as he is hunting down Dominic Greene, as he is unraveling these big villainous plots. They supplement it with some pretty good action scenes, but the relationships, the story, the villain itself, all of it, you just want more from it. And that makes it for a pretty forgettable James Bond film. It is still fun to watch. I feel like Daniel Craig delivers a really good performance in here, and there's some comedic moments within the movie, and the setting is really good. Just like I said, it's just forgettable. I just want a little more from Quantum of Solace. This was the second James Bond movie I saw, and I think there was a video game that went along with it for the Xbox, I think 360, and I remember playing it and having a lot of fun with that. But it's a movie that it ranks lower on my James Bond list, not because it's terrible, it's just that you just want more from it, and it's forgettable. And there's just more James Bond movies that have, crazy action scenes and good relationships and a progressing story and a good villain, and it just doesn't have that. It doesn't have any of that within this movie, and that's why this movie doesn't work. Despite a good continuation of the more personal moments for James Bond, it tries to be something by itself. It can't stand by itself. It's trying to rely on the continuation of Casino Royale, and it just doesn't work. But luckily, we get to talk about Skyfall next week, and then Spectre, and then some fun James Bond videos along the way, and eventually No Time to Die with a lot of ranking videos afterwards. I got a lot planned for James Bond. So right now, I'm gonna go ahead and give Quantum of Solace a B-. Thank you guys for checking my review for Quantum of Solace. Have you guys seen this James Bond film? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for more up and coming James Bond content. My name is Just Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.